Welcome to Fireside Football with Drew James and Kendall Capps. Football's so sexy and smooth, even your grandmama wants to watch.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Week 8 edition of Fireside Football. I'm Kendall Capps.
And I'm Andrew Williams.
Well, Andrew, it's Week 8 in the NFL. We're starting to figure out some things, finally, a little bit, which teams are a little bit better than others, getting a little bit of separation.
I don't know, it's a confusing NFL year. It's hard to get a hold on anything.
It is. You see a few at the top that, if you look, you say maybe there's 6 teams that you really think have a chance, and the rest, like you said, it's a big muddle in the middle.
It could be one of those years that a 9-7 team goes to the Super Bowl.
It's
happened
very well
before.
Yes, yeah, you never know. Well, there's some really key games this week. Which ones stand out to you?
Well, what about the Miami-Cincy matchup here? You've got Miami and Cincinnati, two teams that really need a win to decide which way their season's going. Should they start preparing for the playoffs or should they start preparing for vacation? What do you think? Who do you think stacks up well in this game?
Well, you know, I really like the rushing attack of Miami. I think they're going to get back to the basics. They're going to run the ball 25 to 35 times this game with some success, and they're going to find holes, and they're going to finish drives as well. Cincinnati's given up 5 rushing touchdowns this year, which is a little bit above average, and I think Miami's going to finally put the ball in the end zone enough, whereas Cincinnati, who has lots of yards passing, has trouble finishing drives and turn the ball over. So I think that's going to be the difference in this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like Cincinnati's passing game. I like what they're doing through the air, and the Dolphins have been a little susceptible to the pass. But I think that Miami will be able to run the ball on Cincy, like you said, and take that game on the ground, beating Cincy at their own game.
Yeah. Well, how about another team in the AFC, the New York Jets, a team that a lot of people think might be the best team in the league. They're 5-1 now, coming off a bye at home. What do you think happens?
Well, they're going against a Green Bay team that's really hurting right now. A lot of injuries, but they got a key win in Green Bay to beat Brett Favre and the hated Vikings last week. So, I don't know. I think Green Bay might have a little bit of a letdown here. This game's not as big as the last couple they've played. And I think this Jets team may have been waiting all week, or for the last 2, really, with the bye week to sink their teeth into this Packers offense. I think the Jets defense comes away with the win here.
You know, I agree that the Jets are going to win this game. It's going to be a hard-fought game. Green Bay's offense, despite the injuries that they've sustained, they still move the ball at will on just about everyone. They have a great passing attack, a few different receivers that typically do well. James Jones, I expect him to have a bunch of more targets as the weeks go on. With Driver's thigh injury, he still hasn't practiced all week, but he should be able to play. It's going to make things a little difficult, but I think it's actually going to be a higher-scoring game. The secondary of the Jets the last few weeks hasn't looked quite as good as people thought it was going to be. And even with Revis possibly fully healthy, I'm not really sure. I mean, it's possible that maybe one year he had a standout year, but he's not the best corner cover of all time like people were putting him up initially. And I actually think both these guys are going to go back and forth, but I like the Jets to win it late in an offensive touchdown.
All right, well, moving from the East Coast to the West Coast, you've got Seattle, division-leading Seattle, going down to Oakland to play the Raiders fresh off a 59-14 thumping of the Broncos. You think Seattle can go pull a win out of the Bay Area?
I don't know. I like Seattle's team. I think they will probably, at this point, I think they might end up winning the division. They might be the most talented. But in this game in particular, I don't like their chances. Over the last year and a half, they have not performed well on the road. They typically do a lot better at home. They're going on the road to Oakland, a team that now has a lot of confidence, that feels like they could be one of the better teams, win their division possibly, make a playoff run. I mean, they're sniffing something that they haven't sniffed in a long time. And I think it's going to build some momentum for them, and they're going to find a way to win this game.
Well, and I agree. I think Oakland, especially with the way Darren McFadden's playing, when he's in a game, they may not have a big passing game, but they always have that big, deep run threat. He's been ripping off huge runs. He's also got 18 receptions, third on the team. They don't throw a lot of passes to the wide receivers, but when that running game's effective, that defense can be effective. And I agree with you. I think Oakland might be able to make a run at that division title this year with the division set the way
they've been talking about it for a couple of years, and it looks like they might, finally get something going out there in Oakland, despite Al Davis, that's for sure. Well, how about a really intriguing matchup that it's one of the marquee games of this week? We got Minnesota, Brett Favre coming off a loss, a last-second loss. It could have been a totally different story last week had Percy Harvin's right foot been in 6 inches. Instead, it was out 6 inches, and now they're sitting at 2-4, need the win against New England team that's feeling really good about itself this week. What do you think?
Brett Favre, they say, is going to play. He's got 2 fractures in his ankle. I don't know how healthy he's going to be. I'm wondering if he's going to be able to have success against that New England pass defense, which, like you said, looks a lot better the last couple weeks than it has in the past. And I think I'm going to take New England here. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Vikings defense will keep them in it. I actually don't think it's going to be that high scoring of a game, but I don't see how Favre can keep going. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. He's done it for years now, but I'm taking New England.
Yeah, I also got to take New England. I think they're going to find a way to move the ball. They won't be able to run the ball very well, but they typically don't run the ball that often anyway. It won't be as big of a deal. And with Branch finally getting some chemistry back with Brady, you still have Welker. Edelman is getting a little bit healthier each week. And their running back core, the few guys that they have filled in, they've done a decent job. Danny Woodhead catching the ball out of the backfield in quick little draws. He's a really quick back. I expect lots of short yardage offense, moving up the ball up the field methodically, as opposed to some long drives that you were used to from New England before. But I definitely expect them to find a way to come out with a victory in this game.
Well, how about Pittsburgh going into New Orleans? Pittsburgh, kind of the consensus for one of the best teams in the league right now. They're coming off a gift-wrapped win from the NFL in Miami. Do you think the Saints can come back from their big loss last week?
I want to believe they could. I like the team. They have a lot of talent offensively. Defensively, they have a few key injuries, and they haven't been coming up with that big turnover this year that they came up with all last year, and it's made things really difficult for their offense to have to cash in on all their drives. And they haven't been doing that. They haven't been in sync, and this isn't necessarily the week. Despite the fact they're at home, I don't think this is the week that they find it against this Pittsburgh defense that's healthy and playing really well right now.
Well, I tend to agree with you. Drew Brees hasn't looked great. He's thrown interceptions, but I do think that Browns game might have been a game they just overlooked. And I think the Steelers' offense hasn't shown me quite enough yet. I know they have Mike Wallace, I know they have Ben Roethlisberger back, but I think the Saints are going to find a way to score enough points. They're not going to be losing at home twice in a row. They're going to find some pride. I think they're going to come out here with a win and be able to maybe resume their position as the head of this division.
Yeah, bro, I could definitely see it happening. All right, on Monday night, we have a really good matchup. Houston going on the road to Indianapolis. They played in Week 1, the game where Arian Foster went off with 230 or so, and they made a statement that this might be the year that they could finally win a division. This is a key matchup in regards to that. What do you think?
Well, I don't think Arian Foster runs for 230 yards.
Yeah, something doesn't
I don't think that's going to happen, but I don't know. This Houston team is built to beat Indianapolis, and they've played great this year. Sometimes they've also played not so great. And the Colts are coming off a bye week, but they seem to be more injured coming out of it than they were going into it. Mm-hmm. With Dallas Clark gone for the season, Austin Collie out for the month. Somehow I think Indy's going to take this game at home. I don't see Peyton Manning losing twice to the Texans. It's never happened. I'm going to take the Colts.
It's certainly hard to see. It's very difficult to see an Indy team at 4-3, but with those injuries that he is sustaining, he's bringing in guys that are even lower on the depth chart. In this Houston offense, like you said, they're built to play against Indianapolis. I expect them to be able to run the ball well. Not nearly as well as they did in their first matchup, but I think they'll be able to run the ball well enough. Schaub should be able to get the ball downfield against, face it, an average secondary at best with the injuries they've sustained back there, and be able to keep the ball away from Peyton as much as they can. And I actually think they're going to go on the road and they're going to sweep the season series from Indianapolis.
Well, you better hope so for your sake in our standings, because I'm catching up to you. After all the trash you talked last week, I'm gaining ground.
You gained a game. But all right, well, you're going to need to make up some more ground.
All right, well, before we get into that, let's pull the Fireside Rooster out here for another take on his picks. Now, the Fireside Rooster last week kind of laid an egg. I'm kind of wondering if you're a rooster or a hen here. What's going on?
What happened?
You know, you win some, you lose some. You do.
I think that's going to be chalked up as a loss there. How about for your Week 8 picks? How do you like the Miami Dolphins going into Cincinnati to play the Bengals?
I think everyone knows Cincinnati's going to win that one.
Wow, he finally went against the Dolphins. It might be a smart thing. Who knows? I guess we'll find out. How about Green Bay Packers going on the road to New York to play the Jets?
The Jets.
Ooh, the New York Jets. This Rooster's getting more hated by the minute. How about Seattle Seahawks going to Oakland to play the Oakland Raiders?
Raiders.
The Raiders, okay. He's got the Raiders at home. How about New England at home? The Patriots playing Minnesota and Brett Favre.
I'm going to go with New England.
He's going
All right, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the New Orleans Saints.
The Saints might pull this one off.
All right, and on Monday night, Houston going to Indy.
Indianapolis.
Oh,
he went with Indianapolis.
I thought he was going to go with the Texans.
All right, well, hopefully, Rooster, you need to make a comeback on this week, so we'll see how you do next week.
Bagok, see you next week.
Well, thank you very much for watching Fireside Football. I'm Andrew Williamson.
And I'm Kendall Capps, and we'll see you here next week.